Hello and welcome to episode 148 of the Book Wars Pod.
We would be honored if you would join us.
Where are the pew-pews?
Yeah,
Wow.
let's not get too carried away. Honored feels
have
strong.
you listened to our pod producer?
Where are the rap air horns?
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was fitting, though. I appreciate the effort. Just, we're not that self-important.
A bit of a stretch.
I'm Chris. I'm here, as you can hear for yourself, with Miranda, Rana, and Kristen. And we are continuing on with THRAWN ASCENDANCY, Chaos Rising, a book that is 10,000 pages long, or so it seems by how long we've spent on it.
It's
But-
just because we haven't recorded.
Exactly. It's just because we
We
haven't actually
almost
been reading
didn't
it.
record tonight, so we should all be very grateful that we got to the computer. Thank you to Kristen and to... Yeah, now I feel like a mean person.
Rana's mouth doesn't work tonight, so if the
It's true.
podcast
I
is
had a root
bad,
canal.
that's
if
why.
I sound drunk, it's because I still am numb in half of my mouth, but yeah.
It's going to be like the
cool.
Friends reunion where everybody started rumors that Matthew Perry was off the wagon because he was slurring, even though he had a fucking like root canal that morning.
Why would they shoot a reunion when someone had just had a root canal? This is
Why
Hollywood.
would he
like, they
schedule a
can-
root canal?
Well,
has
yeah,
like-
I mean,
he
they
has, like,
probably.
5
It was apparently
assistants.
like emergency like dental shit, but like, so they didn't schedule it over it. But like, yeah,
I
they
thought you
probably
were
should
going to
have.
say it was an emergency reunion.
That's what I
An
thought too. I
emergency
was like,
reunion.
I don't even like the original Friends show. I'm not going to watch the reunion. Sorry. I'm a bad person. It's cool.
No, it's fine.
It's not a show that aged well.
You're not white. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
That's a white people thing. We love Friends for all of us.
This is true. Anyway, THRAWN ASCENDANCY. We read chapter 10 through Memories 10.
Which sounds like one chapter, but it's
I
actually
know, right?
like 100 pages.
Yep.
It's
I mean, it
several
is Tim
chapters.
Zahn. It could be a 100-page chapter.
Yeah, that's true.
His chapters are fairly short, I feel like, which is great.
They are a little bit in this.
They're very like mismatched in size, but not like in some books where they're mismatched in size because of the point. Like they're mismatched in size because he was like, "Ugh." I mean, no disrespect, but like sometimes I'm like, couldn't have this been in the last chapter? Like what?
No.
Why?
No,
No,
you gotta
why
have a
no?
whole
Why
new
no?
chapter
Why
for
no?
I mean, I haven't read the last one that came out because it came out like last week, and I just haven't had a chance yet.
How dare you not?
But
have
it's like-
already-
That
Wow.
bitch is like 550 pages. So Rana said mismatched in terms of like size, or mismatched in terms of like the point. And I'm like, yeah, that feels like that one's probably mismatched in terms of the point too. But I digress.
This book is 383 pages.
How many pages do you think include the word art?
Tom,
467?
Not at the 550 of this book, which may also feel like 400.
467.
I will say Tom, our good friend from Delray at Darth and Turnus on Twitter, tweeted when, I think he did this for all three of the books, but most recently for when the third one came out, the number of perhapses. And it was like well over 100.
Oh, good.
Checks out.
So that's,
Tom's
at
really
least
out
at least
there
we're all
just-
on board with the Tim Zahn drinking game.
He's
We
really
should do
just
that at
doing
some
that
point.
for us.
I feel like I'm really mean to Tim Zahn, but it's fine.
I mean,
He's
he
never
has
gonna listen to this, and
boatloads
he
of
is
money.
exactly
It's
like
okay.
it's totally fine if I'm mean to Tim Zahn.
He
No
wrote,
one
like,
gets hurt.
The
We
only
still
Star
bought his
Wars books
books.
people will still read from the 90s, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And I still paid
my
money
God.
to buy his book. So.
I almost accidentally X'd out of a recording, just so everyone knows.
Like,
So
Rana has some strong
so enraged
feelings
by
about
the
how-
mention of friends on the pod.
First, I wasn't going to record, and now.
Rana, you can just tell us you want to quit the pod.
Oh my god!
It's my only social engagement. What are you
That's
drinking, Chris?
sad for you. I'm drinking.
Just
Thank you
changing
for
the point
asking.
immediately.
I'm drinking scotch. I'm drinking Glen Grant 18 year. It was a gift. It's quite
Fancy.
delicious.
I like that glass.
Yeah, it was a gift from my dad. My
I
friends
was gonna
can't
say
afford
you have
this
very
shit.
generous friends.
No. It's the beauty of having white parents. Rana, what are you drinking?
Well, I have one white parent, but she doesn't get me these things. No, well, my mom would get me this actually because it is my non-alcoholic beverage, though my mom supports alcohol, but it is a polar seltzer, and we all know my feelings on polar as Central Massachusetts garbage. And then I also have this beer that I don't know where it came from. I mean, I know where the can came from, but I don't know how it got into my house. It is a Spice Trade Brewing pumpkin spice latte. I'm not huge on pumpkin beers a lot of the time. I mean, I like pumpkin, I like beer, but together it's often a miss. This brewery is definitely Colorado based. I don't like that it's called New Worlds of Flavor and it's Spice Trade. Oh, feelings on that one.
Oh.
It has a very nice image on the can, I will say. You can't see it, but it's beautiful.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, it has cool earrings. I'm always here for a good earring game. I'm trying to see. Oh, it's from Greenwood Village in Colorado. I think it got to my house during a board game night. At some point.
Just
Not that
walked
I've
in.
ever had a successful board game night. I think someone probably brought it in.
I mean, they've been
Yeah.
successful. They just haven't been board game nights.
They haven't been board game nights. It's cool. Yes. And what was I gonna say about it? It's okay. It is nicely spiced. Yeah. That is what I'm drinking, and I'm feeling awkward, so I'm gonna pass it over to Keeks, who's
It's-
looking at me like she's gonna stab
no,
me.
I'm not. It's gluten free. The I just Google as always.
Oh, I was
don't
like,
know the
how did you
brewery.
see that from?
It's gluten free. No. Here at Spice Trade, we brew all of our beers to be gluten removed.
Huh.
No, I was wondering if they had a good reason for being called Spice Trade, but no.
And for
it's
saying
just- I
New
think it's
Worlds of
just-
Flavor.
It's
I
just
just
white
think had been
people.
so much shit for playing New World over and over again. And so I feel like I have to give extra shit for the fact that the beer now also says New Worlds on it. Like I'm just being harassed as a native person.
I think it's just dumb white people.
Yeah, no, I'm just making a stupid joke.
No, I was
It's always dumb white people geeks. That's the
I
secret to the
know.
universe.
yeah. Although it is crafted to remove gluten, so
I mean, it's tasty. Like I've had other beers. They had a jalapeno beer from them a few months ago, and it was
Ooh.
really good. So, Bird
Love
looks
me a
like
good
it's
Did you have that
all
on the
up, everyone
pod?
else- I did.
that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think we talked about it last time. I've had a jalapeno beer once, and I did not care for it.
I'm here for any drink with spice.
Me too.
Yeah, chili pepper beers are, you either love them or you don't. So I definitely
Yeah.
understand that, but I'm a big fan.
You know what I haven't had with pepper in it yet? Has anyone made like a spicy wine? Like I've heard of
Like-
wine with undertones of spice, but I've never had a wine that had an actual spicy. Like I want that in my life. Someone
assume you
invent
don't
that
mean,
and
like,
send it to me.
I assume you don't mean like mulled wine. You
No,
mean like
no,
actual
no,
like
no, that doesn't
peppers.
count, no, like
okay.
actual
Spicy.
like undertones of spice.
Interesting. No, I have
Someone
not.
give that to me, please.
Mm.
Do you want me to make it first, or
Yes. Get.
I was gonna say I don't know that exists because I don't think grapes are spicy by
But what if
nature.
we added it? They can add sugar.
No, totally. I just
we got
This
we
would
got
be
some
my own
friends who make
personal
wine.
drink.
I
we
feel
can-
like
If
we
we
there's,
can see
have
if
a
they
real
can-
lockdown, I'm gonna just invent spicy wine in my
Yeah,
house, and I
I
may
think
die from
there's
trying
probably
to ferment my own
like
alcohol.
there's
go
probably
blind.
like rules about what you're allowed to call wine. It's
Mm.
probably part of it.
I'm gonna learn how to do this. Even if it's a cocktail that's spicy but has a wine base, it may be disgusting. But I think if I'm
Mm-mm.
stuck at home long enough, I will drink it.
There's a lot of stuff with like red wine floats and stuff that are
Mhm,
cocktails that are
mhm.
delicious.
Mm-hmm. See where we're. Mm-hmm.
I've had
I'm
beer floats, not
drinking-
red wine floats. Interesting. Sorry, Keeks, go ahead.
It's okay. I'm drinking a Pal's City of Books IPA. City of Books IPA is what it's called, I think. It's a West Coast style India Pale Ale. Can you
I love
believe
the
it?
name.
It's in collaboration with Pal's City of Books. Brewed and packaged in Portland, Oregon. If you're not familiar with Pal's City of Books, how many times can I say it?
Do it again.
It's
Podcast is brought to you by.
their flagship store that I know Chris and Miranda have been to. Is a full city block in Northwest Portland, and it's got lots of books.
It's
And
real
great.
big.
It's a big independent bookstore, so we like them. And they have a couple other stores, but this is just a good all-around beer. It's 6.2%. It tastes like an IPA. It's good.
I went to their southeast location recently on Hawthorne and bought a Star Wars book, and it was really cool there too.
Yes. You're also drinking Ex Novo tonight, right, Miranda?
I sure am. I'm drinking the Pearl Haggard, which is Pilsner. They don't really put descriptions of the beer on the can, so just drink beer, do good. Shop local. I don't know. That's not on the can, but good advice for us all.
Thank you so much for that, Miranda.
It's like a better version of the drink beer pet dogs motto,
Yes.
which I have on a t-shirt and Keeks
Yeah,
also
well,
has on a t-shirt.
I think Ex Novo, I don't know exactly what it is. Kristen probably does. They like actually do good with stuff.
They do.
pet
I've
dogs.
They do. No, I've talked about it on the pod, but like a million years ago. But let's go to their causes page. I don't know what they have, a volunteer specific group called Communitas. They do Impact Northwest, IJM, Friends of the Children, but the I's are ones in that one. I don't know what that means. But they do some
It's only the
stuff.
children of the 1%.
No. I
Checks
think
out.
it's that.
They notably need assistance.
Yeah. Their mission is to help our nation's highest risk children develop relationships, goals, and skills necessary to break the cycles of poverty, abuse, and violence and become contributing members of society. Which I
Verb
do
feels
not
bad
recommend
now.
become contributing members of the society. It's a trap.
No, I don't feel bad. I feel great because I bought Ex Novo beer, and so some of my money goes to those things.
Yes. Exactly right.
I'm drinking the beer, and they're doing good.
Speaking of doing good, Chris, tell the people about who we're giving money to this
I knew
time.
you couldn't possibly be talking about the pod.
we are goodness neutral at best. Yes, thank you, Kristen, for this book. We are still encouraging people to give to the Texas Equal Access Fund, which provides emotional and financial support to people who are seeking abortion care in Texas. And you can donate to them at teafund.org. All right, blue time.
Blue boys, not Hondo. It's Thrawn and others.
You should keep workshopping that, just so you know.
We need
I
to get you a
thought-
good
Just
beat.
as a friend, I want you to know.
I want you to go more for freestyle and less for like having a perfect cadence, you know? Give me your best verse. Like, don't hold back. I want disses to Timothy Zahn. I want it all.
My brain isn't fast enough for that. Words are really
That's why
hard.
Chris wants you to workshop.
Yeah. There's so many thoughts.
Thrawn is blue.
Let's talk
Are we
about
workshopping now? Is that the boss?
the Chiss. Yes.
No, that's the plot of this book.
It's true.
I mean, it's not the plot of this
They
book.
do.
Just so you all
That is
know-
a plot point in this section.
Chris, who's Chris? We have a Chris. I'm sorry, I'm so tired. Kristen, I had a root canal today, guys. Okay, my brain is going through some Novocaine right now. Kristen specifically asked us. I'm so sorry, I can't believe I said it was Chris. Oh my god. Kristen specifically said maybe we can say more than Thrawn is blue for this chapter. She
It is
like
relevant to the plot. There was
she
a
was
whole
trying
thing when
to make sure that she produced us. And what did we immediately say when we started?
sometimes I don't read all of the messages.
If there's one thing I can't do, it's get you guys to do what I want you to do.
No, but Kristen,
Not
they
possible.
Thrawn and how do we decide we were saying Talius?
I was saying Talius in my head.
Talius?
I don't know.
They
Ask
were
Timothy
on
Zahn.
the Vac planet or whatever. And they were like, we're a couple of blue people sticking out here. And then that one evil Pathfinder dude was like, they can't get too far because they're big and blue.
It's true.
it's
It was mentioned
relevant.
twice.
It is a plot
I
point.
think they even called them blueskins at one point.
They did. And that felt kind of racist, speciesist, whatever we want to call it. I didn't like it though.
But if the aliens aren't humanoid with different skin colors, how are we going to know that they're different alien races?
Sometimes they get to have horns.
And,
You know what?
weird
You're
little
so right.
tendrils.
Egg on my face. You're so right.
Leku, they've got their leku.
Star Wars is diverse, Chris.
Listen,
Sometimes they
Star
can't
Wars
breathe in
is
air.
marginally better about like different types of aliens than Tim Zahn is. Tim Zahn is not the most creative when it comes to different types of aliens.
Well, he'll write all about how silverware is affected by different alien face structures.
That's true. That's very true.
I thought that was really interesting.
No, I did too. Like, it's something I would be interested in if it weren't like
only
mentioned
thing that
again
happened in
and
that
again and
chapter?
again and again. Yeah,
I think that was the point of that chapter.
it was interesting. Honestly, I can't help but talk shit at any given time.
I know. I don't actually hate Tim Zahn this much, but all I can do on this podcast apparently is just talk shit about him. But that's
Yeah,
again,
it's
that's
not
fine.
like I
No one
actually
gets
have
hurt.
nothing against him. Like, that's fine. I mean, if he did something bad, someone tell me. I don't know anything about him, but you know.
I've only heard that he's lovely in person. So
Oh, good. See, I don't
That's
hate him.
good.
It's cool.
I don't like you either.
He's on
excellent.
the
Thank
pod?
you, Keeks.
And he
That's Tim
sounds like
Zahn's music.
C-3PO.
That's the big twist.
What, that
Um,
Tim Zahn has been C-3PO this whole time?
He and Anthony Daniels are the same person.
Bump.
Yo, that'd be wild. Then Tim Zahn would be a dick because I've heard Anthony Daniels is a massive dick. Anyway, we've gotten wildly off track. So let's talk about Chiss Society. We got a little more of a view in this section, in the previous two sections, really, about why the Chiss are the way that they are, and also a little bit about the politics of the big families, which is something that we don't know a ton about because Thrawn doesn't know a ton about it, allegedly.
Yeah, I feel like we're at the point of the book where it's all kind of finally coming together, and like the little bits of the politics we pick up kind of throughout, they finally start to make sense, and it's finally like not just vague shit about the families, which has been the most of this book. Like there was one of the memory interludes was about like the one fucker, what's his name? The one who tried to recruit Thrawn.
Zistalmu.
Zistalmu tried to like recruit Thrawn to leave his family, like leave the myth, and then go over to the Iziri. And like there's this conversation, and Thrawn was talking to Ar'alani about it later, like, oh yes, we are the big military family, and they have a lot of folks high up, you know, among the officers of the defense fleet, whatever they call it. Which
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an enlightening chapter. One I had somehow missed, unless we were supposed to catch this. I figured I probably just wasn't reading closely enough. The big reveal about, I think we'll talk about it later, but about Ar'alani and Zaria being the same person. I don't know if I was supposed to know that early on, but I missed that until then. I guess we did, and I just was dumb. I didn't notice. I know they've probably said their full names, but like I said, didn't read very closely. So for me, I was like, oh, this is cool. Anyways, I thought that was an interesting chapter because despite all of that, we just saw Zistalmu being like not helpful at all while they're doing strategy. So how are you representing this huge, super militaristic, strategic family, and you're also unable to put together like the basic strategy? I get that he was annoyed and it was about how it affected him, but I was also like, how are you incapable of being on the bridge during an attack and
To
yet
be
you represent the
fair,
military family?
he is one of the political dudes in that family. Like, he has no information on how to be a military
But if-
dude.
But he didn't have to like have strategy. He just had to like shut up and listen to what was happening.
Yeah, but he's some dumbass, you know, politico and panicking because they're about
just-
to be in a firefight.
I was
just
gonna
felt
say, like, if
their
Ted
family
Cruz,
depends on it.
if just replace Zistalmu with Ted Cruz, and it honestly makes a
I
lot more
generally
sense.
assume anyone in the Star Wars universe has to be at least like 200% smarter than Ted Cruz, but I guess maybe I'm
That is,
maybe that's unfair to Star Wars
bold.
characters. They're probably smarter than that.
there's a lot of characters in Star Wars.
Oh, I'm aware.
They can't all be that much smarter than Ted Cruz.
I mean, I feel
Although
like a clump of amoebas is smarter than Ted Cruz.
The bar is low, I realize that, but
It's fair.
like they gotta have the Ted Cruzes of the galaxy, or the
Ted-
Teed
yeah.
Cruzos.
Remember when Trump said his dad?
Killed JFK. Yeah, God.
Yes.
Ted
He
Cruz is
still
the
hangs out
Zodiac
with him.
killer. You heard it here first.
That was my favorite internet conspiracy for like 2 years. I was kind of sad when they
Sorry.
finally solved it.
I really hate Ted Cruz, but I can't help but just think about it all the time. That lives in my head totally rent free.
Yeah, Zistalmu trying to like do things for the military is that picture of Ted Cruz like on the phone banking for Donald Trump after like he called his wife ugly. Whatever.
Just like big "Hello, Darkness, my old friend" vibes.
Just he looks so sad.
Zistalmu fled to another planet when they had a big storm coming.
Zistalmu was in Mexico when Scylla froze over.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going for, but I could not remember Scylla. Thank you.
Here for you.
He came back, but he left his kids in Mexico. So real weird. Space Mexico.
I love how he was like, I'm just a good dad. Yeah, okay.
I mean, listen, if I was Ted Cruz's kids, I'd want to be in a different country than him too. So
I would never come back.
anyway, so yeah, the Rizi are very military focused, and I don't know. To me, the like disconnect between them and Zistalmu is like, even though like they focus on military, like not everybody's a military officer. Like there's some, you know,
Yeah.
there
Also,
he's
like,
he's the family version of a bureaucrat, basically.
I was about to say we all have like that one cousin, you know?
Yeah.
Like he's probably born into the family. They're like, we gotta do something with this guy. He can talk circles around nothing for a while. I'm like, put him into politics. I also, so like kind of seeing that, and I don't know if I'm just making this up, but it does seem like those big families, like the Aziri, the Myth, the whatever the fuck the other ones are, they all kind of like seem to have strengths. Like it kind of seems like, you know, one family's gonna be good at like trade and stuff. This is all just a point so I can use the word oligarchy on the podcast, though that does kind of seem like what it low-key is.
I mean,
I will not be elaborating.
I mean, it's high key explicitly an oligarchy, isn't it? Like,
Great.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
like
Their
there's
system.
yeah, you like wrote down like high key sounds like a low key oligarchy, and I'm like, there's very little that's low key about this situation.
Built into their rules.
Like, I don't
Their
even
laws
think they
and
have a
structures.
single executive leader, like head of
Not as
state,
far
do
as I
they?
can
Not that
tell.
we've met.
No, it all seems to talk about like the syndicate,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm assuming is the oligarchical leaders.
Well, I'm very curious to see more of like the people who are either not involved in the syndicate and the family structures. Like we know that there are people who aren't involved in it because Thrawn, that's part of why Thrawn is a little bit clueless about it. When we see his introduction, he's like, "Oh, I didn't know all these things." So I'd be very curious to see that. Like I don't want a lot of short stories set on this planet, but also I kind of do of like just give me like 3 or 4 of everyday people. Like the people who were in Scylla and then all of a sudden everyone disappears when they go underground. Like I want to read those people's stories and see how they're navigating life, but I
Yeah.
don't want to actually read the full book.
All the regular families that have no influence. Also, that they're like just low key. Yeah, we don't have people on this planet. Like we do, but it is a fraction, a very small fraction of what we say we do.
Was it just the capital? I mean, I know that tens of millions of people is a lot, but I read that as it just being the capital. Was it the full planet that happened
Yeah.
to everyone?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
she said there were like 60 to 70 million people.
Yeah. And before that, they
On-
said there were 7 million people in the city of Scylla.
in the city alone, but like
Yeah.
8 billion were supposed to be on the planet.
Yeah, I think it is the whole planet that is
Okay.
frozen over.
So that makes me curious about like the different sections. Like when we first meet Thrawn and we learn where he's from, and he's so unfamiliar with these other structures. Like, do the people who did not? I mean, I know the people who were in Scylla know about the underground society because they switched them out every however long. They didn't give a unit of time. But I would be so curious to know about like the lives of everyone outside of the city structure, and maybe the city is so influenced by the syndicate that influences their everyday lives and is like a part of their structures. But I would just be so curious to see what it would be like for boring, non-syndicate related family people.
I mean, it definitely seems like folks on the other planets in the Ascendancy have no idea. Because I
Yeah.
think that was Thrawn's first trip there.
Mm-hmm.
Or it seemed like it was.
Yeah, I think because he didn't even he wasn't even familiar with what the structure of the city was like physically, and since he's so strategic and everything, it did seem like that was his first. He was like, "Oh, these cars aren't moving, and this car went under that car." So yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, and this, like, I'm jumping ahead a little bit in the outline, but like, I get the like Thrawn like goes into like the strategic reasons of like, yeah, getting like your enemy to throw like an entire like assault force at like what is essentially an empty shell of a city. But like, why is everything such a secret with them? Like, we've seen nothing to suggest. I mean, no, that's a lie. We have seen suggestions of this like very dark, bloody history of the ascendance of the Chiss within the chaos. And so, like, it feels like it's just so many like throwbacks to a bygone era that they're so militaristic. Because as we see from, Thurfian and Zistalmu, they don't want to be militaristic anymore in a lot of ways.
It seems exhausting. Like, I thought it was exhausting in the beginning of the book, and now the more I imagine having to compartmentalize in your head, like, who's allowed to know what secrets and who knows this thing and that thing. Maybe, I guess they don't have human brains, so maybe their brains have, like, evolved for these purposes, but it sounds fucking exhausting to me. I can't even, like, fake laugh at people's jokes, so I don't like. I can't imagine you have an entire society that you're trying to, like, compartmentalize about who you're talking about and when and who's allowed to know what. Oof, not for me.
It feels like they started this like thousands of years ago, and they've just kind of kept it up. So now they're like, well, this is how we do it. I don't make the rules. You cannot have any of this information because that makes me more powerful because I know something that you don't know, and I'm going to use it to my advantage even though there's no advantage because there are no fucking people in this city.
It's like the exact opposite of, I can't remember Vac is the planet, right? But anyways, when they're talking
Crimea,
about
yeah.
how they like have this whole society in which, oh, everyone has to be heard and we have to consider everyone's opinion, and they're like, what? That's impossible. Which I understand why it's so opposed, but it did seem like the exact opposite of their own society where they're like, syndicate and staying alive militaristically. That's it. That's all we care about. I appreciated that part.
I don't know why you guys let me on this podcast.
Because we also like to sing random BG songs.
This is true, notably.
Famously,
yeah.
It's actually our intro.
I had something. Oh, yeah, the whole ascendancy feels very like late stage Roman Empire. Like, they like want to be feared, but are also like kind of unwilling to do anything to enforce that, and also don't want to actually do anything. And like, it does, like, we haven't seen much of non-military Chiss life, but it certainly doesn't seem like it's a like society that isn't kind of lost in its own excess. Like, when you see the privilege that the Syndicure and the Aristocra enjoy.
Well, think about that ship that one of the memories was about Thrawn trying to save, where like there were just absurd wastes of space and money to have luxury on their like travel vessel or whatever. So I don't think you're wrong about that.
yeah, and they're like trying to ignore all the chaos around their borders and the chaos. Like, the fucking Gauls aren't gonna come knock down their door.
Yeah.
I listened to a Roman history podcast the other night.
Nice. But yeah, like there's a certain amount of just to continue the analogy of fiddling while Scylla is freezing over. I don't know, I lost the thread there, but you know what I'm talking about. Like there's a lot of burying of heads in the sand. There's a lot of people who don't seem to be particularly qualified doing their jobs politically. And the ones who are qualified, like, their motives seem heavily suspect.
Yeah, they don't seem to care as long as they can keep their power, which is also big Rome vibes.
Yeah.
I think you were going to say Rome wasn't frozen in a day, right, Chris?
I wasn't, but I like it.
And that's why she's our producer.
But yeah, so we're gonna find out more about Chiss Society in book 2 and presumably in book 3. I'll let y'all know when I get around
Somewhere
to
in
reading it.
those 550 pages, we'll learn.
Maybe.
No.
It's all just gonna be talking about Thrawn looking at art and discovering that every single member of an entire alien species thinks the same way.
Stay tuned for our last episode, which is going to be the last episode of this book.
I was like,
All of our last episodes of Tim Zahn books, I feel like, are always like 2 hours long.
Yeah,
that's when
because all
everything
of our
happens.
first 6 episodes are not. Also, you were like, stay tuned for our last episode, and I was like, because we're gonna read the next Tim Zahn book and I'm gonna blow my brains out. Like, why is
Oh,
it gonna be our
no.
last episode?
I thought that
thought she
you
was
guys
talking
were
about-
doing an elaborate plan to kick me off the pod and tell me the podcast was canceled. Just block me on everything and then go back to it on your own.
I thought she was just talking about the last episode we put out.
Oh, God. Like, all of our different ideas here.
And none of them were right.
This is why I'm not allowed to talk on the pod anymore.
Arguably, none of us should be allowed to talk on the pod either, but here
That
we
is
Yeah.
are.
correct.
I don't know why we are. Like, I think we have 3 listeners now. But we support you all. Thank you.
Yes. So let's again. I'm shuffling the outline a little bit here, but since we're talking about
Ooh.
the syndics and the aristocra, I know it's a very funny word. It's a very funny word.
It's
No,
because
I'm
it
laughing
has
at-
dick
at-
in it.
Yeah, no, that's
Whoa.
that was clear. That was very clear, Burb.
I have
I
to
was
say
laughing
it
at
for
Miranda's noise.
I have to say it for any lesbians who might be listening.
I was like, you have to say what you already said for any lesbian. I was like waiting for you to drop
Yeah.
some
Yeah,
knowledge.
I
for
was like,
no,
lesbians.
I
where's
just
the-
I
where's
just had
the
to point out.
PSA waiting.
Are you worried that lesbians don't hear a dick joke when they hear it? Like,
Some lesbians called their pet store the filling station, which is apparently something.
I don't. Yeah, but I also don't. I don't think that was unintentional necessarily. Anyway, we can move on. Why are Zistalmu and Thurfian working together? Do we think?
I want to know. It's clearly Thrawn related, or there's like some
I mean,
big
yes.
conspiracy in the Ascendancy. But I really want to know, like, I just want to get more insight into it because obviously Zistalmu like tried to recruit Thrawn all those years ago. Clearly, Thrawn was like, "No, fuck you." Like, I don't think it's just like lingering. I don't know, resentment. There's got to be something.
Yeah, some
money's-
sort of like political plans at work or something.
Conspiracy.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Barb, I didn't mean to cut you off. Where's your money? I gotta find it.
What?
Just kidding. I don't know. It's a bad joke. Go ahead.
It definitely seems like Zistalmu was
I'm
not on board
sorry.
with this, even as early as when he tried to recruit Thrawn, because he was very clear that he was not doing this, or he was doing it under protest rather.
Sure.
And like Ar'alani asks, and he's like, "Fucking finally! Like, why haven't you asked before?" Like, she's like, why do you hate him so much?" And they're like, and Zistalmu's like, "We don't hate him." And then she's like, "Okay," and he's like, "Okay."
Good
Like, it's-
talk.
I like how later on though he's like, we don't hate him, and later on he's like, but the reason we all dislike him is like, okay, you don't like him.
It's really the whole point of that scene is that Zistalmu is just like splitting hairs over the word hate.
It's all about, the... Oh, I forgot the word. This is a pointless point.
It's completely out of place on this pod, Burb. How dare you?
I know.
We only have well-structured arguments here.
What's the word I'm thinking of? It starts with an S, maybe?
It's also
A
Semantics.
lot of words.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say there's a
I was
lot of
like,
words out
can I
there,
get
Burb.
some context?
Semantics. That's what it's about.
I
It's
thought he
true.
was one of those people who says like, hate is a strong word. Be careful whenever someone says it. I hate
Not
people
in
like
my
that.
Chiss Ascendancy.
I definitely feel like the Chiss have no problem hating people.
Same.
But I think for political reasons, I don't know why I'm analyzing this, but I feel like for political reasons, they probably do have to be cautious about like disliking people visibly, because I mean they're not in this book, but because there's always like 3 levels of political blowback.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You're doing the analysis because this is a books podcast.
I finally found my reason for being on the pod. It only took almost a
Famously.
year. I will overthink Star Wars. Yes.
That's what we're here for.
All of us do it. That's why
Also
we're
to
here.
underthink Star Wars,
Yes,
which
well,
is even
that's-
more fun.
It's hard to underthink Star Wars sometimes. Like, you go back and, I'm not going to make that
Yeah,
argument.
honestly, not enough people underthink Star Wars, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Life would
That
be
is
better if we
correct.
all underthought Star Wars. Again, it is fake, it's in space, and it's for kids. So,
Again, I just want to draw people's attention to Newt Gunray. Just leave that there. But yeah, so like I don't know. I think my theory about Zistalmu and Thurfian working together is that like it's definitely like they don't strike me as explicitly corrupt necessarily, and by corrupt I mean like corrupt isn't the right word. Explicitly like treasonous necessarily. Like they don't strike me as like working with Yiv the Benevolent or some other force, but like they definitely do to me feel like people who are like, we have no interest in any sort of change in the Chiss Ascendancy, and Thrawn's recognition of dangers out in the chaos, whether he's correct or not, represents a challenge to our power and to our family's power. Because I also think that like both of them are very loyal to their families. Like they make very clear that they will do whatever they need to do that their family asks them to. But it is interesting because like obviously like their argument is that they're putting the ascendancy first by like keeping them out of wars, but like a lot of the arguments that Thrawn is making, and like they don't seem to be stupid beings, like show that that's not the case.
How is Thrawn challenging their power, though?
I think
Like, best case scenario for them, he fucks out of a family because he gets a promotion to fleet officer, which we know you just kind of have to abandon your family at that point because Ar'alani is not Ziara anymore. She is Ar'alani. Full stop.
yeah,
And,
I
like,
found
the
that
myths-
really
The
fascinating.
myths don't like Thrawn either. Nobody fucking likes this guy.
Only Ar'alani and Talius and Sherry.
Eli.
Sherry.
yeah,
What?
it's and Eli. Thank you, Miranda. I feel like the threat to their power would come from if the Chiss were to go back to being a warlike and expansionary society, and become more empirical. Like their power, it seems, very much comes from the fact that nothing happens in the Ascendancy because they are like supremely isolationist.
Fair.
Like they're like the Charles Lindberghs of fucking the Chiss Ascendancy, except
They're
potentially
Nazis?
without the Nazism. Yes,
I was like, wow, that's an interesting
it's a
analysis.
deep cut.
I don't think I can correct Chris on who is and who is not a Nazi, but I didn't quite get that same reading.
I mean, listen, Zistalmu has big Nazi vibes. Let's be honest with ourselves. But yeah, like just like the hardcore isolationism is more what I meant from that.
That is notably not an aspect of Nazism.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I mean,
I'm being a
yes,
straight white man about this right now.
like the very isolationist wing of America pre-World War II, much of
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
driven by the fact that they were also Nazis. But
Ayy.
they
Herb, did you say AE to Nazis?
No, they were all Nazis. I'm just supporting
Oh,
the
okay.
fact that they. No, I'm.
Okay. I
We
know.
are
I'm just
notably
kidding, I'm just kidding, I'm
anti-Nazi
just
here.
kidding. Do we need to cut that? I'm sorry. That was a terrible joke. We can
no,
cut
we
that.
should leave it. We should absolutely leave it.
Jesus Christ.
Just make Burb sit with that.
Well, I just.
What we should do is cut the laughing and make it seem like we're all super seriously accusing Burb of
All
being a
I
Nazi.
know is I went to look at the outline when that happened, and that's how I heard it. That's all I know. Just giving you a hard time, Burb. I'm glad you're glad you're you.
I'm now
hate the
hearing that
Nazis.
you sasaid Lindbergh, and I really thought you said Hindenburg, and I got really confused for a minute.
Good old
Oh,
Chuck
Notable
Hindenburg.
Hindenburg Nazi.
Charles Hindenburg. They actually, to be fair, still flying stuff.
Thank you. But
Big
I was
stuff
like,
in the sky.
wasn't that a blimp?
Don't you know everything in the past was a Nazi or a racist? That's how it works. It's true, actually.
I mean,
Hindenburg
that's
was a
not
blimp.
wrong.
Yeah, no, I'm being serious. That wasn't a joke. I just delivered it with a weird tone of voice.
Yeah,
I meant it
no, like
seriously.
the Hindenburg was a Nazi blimp is what I meant to say, and then I got tired and forgot the Nazi part.
It's okay. We're recording late. Sorry.
That's fine. we've completely lost the thread on.
The only indicator
Ascendancy.
of whether or not we're
Isolationism.
actually recording late is whether or not Chris has eaten dinner yet. So, Chris, have you eaten dinner yet?
I have eaten dinner yet. Yes.
Okay,
See?
okay.
But yeah, any other thoughts on the Ascendancy and Chiss society as a whole? I feel like we obviously have a lot more to learn, but we've gone through a lot of what's in the outline.
I'm really curious to see more about how the society feels about the sky spacewalkers. Not like spacewalkers, but also spacewalkers. Sky spacewalkers, to differentiate from the dumb twinks of the Outer Rim. But because it's one of those secrets, and I get it, but like also why? I mean, to be fair, if that was like a very precious resource, but they're clearly pathfinders. Do they not use the Force? Or do they learn
From
things?
from that chapter with what was his name, Kilori?
Yeah.
I get the sense that the Pathfinders do use the Force, but they're just not remotely as good as the Skywalkers.
Sure.
Like they're like Force adjacent at best, whereas the Skywalkers are like the real thing, can drop you like on a dime in the middle of a fucking triple star system like Sherry did.
Also,
I
it's fucked up
assumed-
that they use these little girls for that. Like,
Oh
let the
yeah.
kids live. Let the kids fucking live.
Also, like, I assume the reason that they can't give them specific details on war activities and strategies and defense mechanisms is probably so they don't factor that into their, like, planning and their, navigation. But it seems kind of fucked up that you're, like, responsible for getting the ship somewhere and you have no idea how it's keeping itself safe, how it's going to react when other people attack it, and it's a warship.
And also,
Like-
you're 10.
Yeah. I felt bad. Good for Talias is not my favorite character, but good. At least she gave her some answers.
Forcing
I don't know what that
families
voice
to
was,
give up
sorry.
their Force-sensitive children for the good of the state? Not in my Star Wars.
Never.
There's definitely a conversation to be had about that, for sure.
There's a lot of conversations to be had about that.
I did like that we finally got why Thrawn got all wistful back when we first found out about the Skywalkers, just because his sister was one.
Yes.
Yeah, that was sad.
It was.
Do you
I
think
di-
she'll show up in the trilogy? Sorry,
Say
go
again?
ahead, Burp. Do we think she'll not just a reference to her, but that she herself will make an appearance at some point in the trilogy? I feel like mentioning a long lost sibling. Maybe I've watched too many telenovelas, but I feel like mentioning a long lost sibling almost always means the sibling will return in the next installment of the book. No, just me. Okay.
I mean, that is very Star Wars.
Or finding out someone's a sibling.
I was
3
going to say
movies in.
long lost siblings. Again,
Not
Force
this.
sensitive. None
Not
of this
at
is
all
ringing
well
a bell.
thought out. Well, long lost siblings.
Also, yeah, I like kind of want a series about what happens to Skywalkers after they're done skywalking.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, I love that they call them Skywalkers because it makes them sound like they're dancing.
It is very like in a world like taken over by their like technological excess and superiority. They're still just calling them Skywalkers, which is I agree, is like somewhat anachronous. And I know it's just for plot reasons or for joke reasons, but it's a good joke.
It is shockingly poetic for the Chiss.
It is.
Any other points?
I feel like this is your
Ar'alani
point.
and Thrawn to fuck. Maybe. The end of the Memories 10, she like touches his arm so they can go talk, and I was like,
Go talk somewhere quiet.
This seems tense.
I feel like those undertones have been under. Oh, the undertones are under. Shocking.
My undertones are
sorry.
over.
That's the key insight and analysis that we bring you on for, Rana.
Ooh, that's why I'm here. So helpful. I should just log off now. I did my work for the day. No, but I feel like those undertones have been within everything that we've read. Like, it's often there, but also I don't know that I want it to happen. Like, I'd be happy with them being platonic friends. I don't want the, like, one of the only powerful female characters. I already feel like Talias's relationship with Thrawn is weird. I don't feel like it has to become a whole thing that the only, like, female character is now like, oh, interesting, Thrawn. But also, like, if she wants to get... Well, whoa, that was going to be a very inappropriate comment for the Book Wars pod. If she wants to be involved with him, then go for it. But,
Because we're usually so
Yeah.
appropriate in our content.
I know. But it would have been a bit much.
I don't know.
I'll text you all what I was going to say.
I think Miranda just got it. Yeah, that was going to be my guess too. We're not chatting on the side. What are you talking about?
Nope, never.
I'm not the right person to ask because like I like famously don't really ship characters. Like it just doesn't really like that aspect of it rarely interests me. But I will also say I definitely at the beginning while they were in the academy and like until they had that date that like then turned into a fucking like boxing match, like definitely
with
thought that
the-
there was like potential for like sexual tension. But
you don't
now
think
I
dates that
read
turn into boxing matches do have sexual tension? No? Okay.
I feel like they
Boxing
can. I
matches
didn't feel like this
absolutely
one
have
did.
sexual
Yeah, that's a
tension.
thing. Like, that's a
I mean,
thing.
that's
I mean, I
definitely
don't-
true.
I don't want it to happen, and I don't think it'll happen, because I don't think Thrawn's into that. But it's like, what is this?
To me, that whole like grabbing his arm and being like, "Let's go talk," is that I read it as much more kind of a like, this is my shit ass little brother who I love dearly, and will always protect because he's too pure for this world.
I don't know. Maybe
Oh,
she's just an
interesting.
affectionate friend sometimes.
I also feel like she's not an affectionate friend, and the fact
Correct.
that Thrawn also doesn't know how to be affectionate is like the weird, like it like makes her feel more at ease. That's
Huh.
that. I don't know. That's just kind of how I read it. I could be entirely wrong, but
I like that interpretation more. We all know it's not that I ship people in these books. It's just that my brain is often like, they're going to have sex. And it's not accurate most of the time.
They're gonna fuck. No, I don't think it's gonna happen. But it's just it's like a very interesting wrinkle. And like I said earlier, with like all the politics of the ascendancy, like this is really where it's starting to come together. And I think we're getting like a really good look at their relationship. Because it's deep. They go way back, and they've been friends forever.
I do feel like it's a rare moment of, I don't want to say vulnerability, but openness about not knowing things from Thrawn. Like the fact that he sits down and he asks her advice, and then he asks her questions about her advice, not as a like, analyze this and tell me the strategy behind it, but as a very simple, I don't understand why you would suggest XYZ thing. I just thought that seemed not out of character, but just not something we've seen from Thrawn so far in these pages.
It makes sense.
He trusts
Like
her.
he's seeking to understand, always. And there's like a whole section where he's talking to the one guy. I don't
need
remember
a
who.
little more detail, please.
To one of the officers on his ship about one of the other officers on his ship, and
Oh,
Thrawn's like,
Talking to
Samacro,
Samacro, yeah.
about the one he thinks isn't
that guy. He's like, this
curious.
fucker isn't curious.
I feel like that's like Thrawn's like in his mind that is the biggest insult he can drop.
Oh, it
Yeah, that's
absolutely
his.
is.
He's simple.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's
It's
like, oh,
it's Thrawn's bless your heart.
like he's smart enough, but he's not curious.
Just go throw yourself out an airlock.
Oh,
Kariel.
sweetie.
All right, so we'll leave it there. Thrawn and Ar'alani not fucking, according to the Book Wars pod.
And according to Chris, who's read ahead.
If they don't fuck in this book, I feel like they want the second book.
I like how Burb now.
That's not where
Every
you
book
drop
we
it in the
ever
trilogy.
read,
That's
she's
true.
like,
No, that's true.
"They're
Just like
gonna fuck.
literally, it would happen in the third book. You would
Is
think.
that a word? Literally?
It can be if we believe in it.
Yeah.
It probably is.
If you
I'm gonna
believe
look
in
it up.
literarily, clap your hands.
Oh, it totally
I
is.
do
I'm so
not.
Oh no, it's
It
not.
is-
Never mind.
It's not. It's not.
It's not. It's
Okay.
literary.
Yeah.
I stand by it. I'm gonna be honest.
It was used in the 17th century, according to this one thing I saw.
There you
so
go.
are chamber pots.
Yeah, I mean that's when like people made up whole words.
That's what Thrawn thinks that not curious officer is.
a chamber pot or literarily.
Yes.
I like
All
how
right.
Geek started playing us out immediately.
All right. Well, since we no longer live in the age of chamber pots, remember to get your vaccines and COVID boosters.
Yeah.
Like that? Love that.
What a segue.
Yeah, right?
Well
Next
done.
episode, we're going to be finishing reading Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising, reading chapter 16 through to the end. If you have the means, first and foremost, donate to the Tea Fund. And then if you want to support us because you just like lighting money on fire, you can donate to the Tasha Station Radio Patreon or give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookhorsepod. And we will continue to be good about posting pictures of Argos, Cerberus, Jasper, Orca, and Tony on the various social media accounts. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butera Design. Our audio and production are done by Kristen McDonnell. And Rana, you wanted to shout somebody out
Oh
as well.
fuck yeah! I'm sorry. I left my book at Cabin's house. So Cabin, thank you for being a nice person and trying to send the pictures. I really hope you're not listening to this, but I know you are.
I was going to say, does he listen?
You the best. He does, and I tell him not to every single time.
Oh.
And then he will quote it to me, and I won't realize it's a quote from it. And I'm like, what? And he's like, why don't you know your own podcast? And I'm like, I don't know.
It's a big assumption that we listen to what we're saying
I
here.
erase it from my head when it happens.
A
Like, I don't know.
podcast so bad we all forget it.
That should be our tagline.
It's the audio version of just one big trauma memory, really.
But yeah, get you a partner who will send you photos of every single page you haven't read yet before recording. Great.
That's very sweet. Shout out to Cadman.
but not like more shout out to his dogs.
Always shout out. to
Tarma and
dogs.
Alaya, they get the shout out.
Love it. Shout out to dogs everywhere, honestly. Just keeping us all alive.
I'm sorry, I thought I was muted him. Cat.
For Rana, Miranda, Kate, Kristen, and myself, thank you for listening to the Book Wars Pod, and we will talk to you. Pretend it's next week, whenever we next record. It could be next week, we don't know.
Could be next year.
It's equally likely.
We gotta finish the book before the end of the year. We can do it.